Hey, this is Ina. We're in with you in the fight back, and today I'm continuing my series on the Paris Commune. And today we're going to go over the reviews of Karl Marx on the Paris Commune. Before we do that, let's just step back just a moment and look at Marx's view on the state. Too often by anarchists, Marx is seen as an authoritarian, and in some ways by some Marxists as well. Marx began his political career in Prussia, in a society where the state was an oppressive, alienated object of an autocracy, where political freedom was not embraced at all, and where pretty much intellectual thought was stifled. And Marx began by reacting against this. He wrote articles in favor of freedom of the press, religion, and so forth. Marx not only saw that the state, not only in Prussia, but wherever capitalism or feudalism has developed, as an alienated power. It's separated from the population. He also saw the state as serving to maintain the existing property relations as an instrument of a ruling class. And he saw the task of the socialist revolution as taking this alienated state power, this instrument of oppression, and eliminating it and bringing about a new society where those functions of the state which had been alienated from the population were brought back to the population themselves. So the state would, in a sense, not administer people, but it would be an administrative of things where the state has withered away. And Marx pretty much remained faithful to this through his whole life. And for Marx, who as he embraced communism, he saw the task of the proletariat to establish itself as a ruling class, as the dominant power through a revolution. And although he and Engels only used this particular phrase roughly 15 times, they called this the dictatorship of the proletariat. And anti-Marxists are very keen on saying, aha, you guys just proved you want a dictatorship. Well, if you weren't so stupid and actually read some of what Marx said, you realize that dictatorship of the proletariat, dictatorship, it doesn't mean a form of government. For instance, democracy or fascism or monarchy. Dictatorship is telling us which class is essentially ruling. For instance, in the United States, we call it a dictatorship of the bourgeoisie. Even though the state form is kind of democratic. Or France, we would also call that a dictatorship of the bourgeoisie, because that's the class that's in control. Yet it is a democratic state. There is basic political freedoms. And the same we would say about Nazi Germany. The bourgeoisie is ultimately in control, even though the form of government is fascistic. And Marx saw, through the struggles that were taking place in France in 1848 and after, and especially with the rise of Louis Bonaparte, Napoleon III, that a whole oppressive executive branch, parasitical with bureaucracy, hangers-on, was oppressing the people, and he believed that the proletariat, instead of taking hold of this state and using it, this state had to be abolished. It had to be smashed. This oppressive bureaucracy, alienated from the population, serving an interest of a ruling class, had to go. And in 1871, the Paris Commune happened, and Marx, he urged the communards not to seize power, but they did anyway. And Marx enthusiastically supported their struggle. So the Commune takes power, and it lasts for the 70 days that I said earlier. And Marx, as the leader of the First International, despite whatever misgivings he has about the Commune, publicly supports them. This brings on him a heap of ridicule, and along with slandering of the press, and it ultimately Marx's prominence as a vocal defender of the Commune, with state repression throughout Europe, helps to usher in the downfall of the First International. And Marx penned, in defense of the Commune, one of his more famous and probably more readable works called The Civil War in France, which should be in the description below. You can check it out. And Marx praised the Commune for abolishing this oppressive state apparatus with its standing army, its bureaucracy. Gone. Instead of like a legislator separated from the people, you had a legislator where legislative and executive are fused, and the legislators can be recalled at the population's convenience, essentially. They receive no exorbitant salaries, but no more than a skilled worker. The standing army is replaced by the people in arms, so the population themselves is taking place in the place of the revolution as a separate organ. And Marx is also praising the Commune for getting rid of a lot of these bureaucracies that had sprung up under Louis Napoleon. Marx is praising the Commune for its great democracy, its embryonic socialism, as it were, that's taking place. He praises the Commune for all these great advancements in workers' liberty. And he says the Commune, in separating church and state, in abolishing the state apparatus that existed before under Napoleon, is showing the form of state that the proletariat will have. That this is the instrument that we can use for the emancipation of labor. He's saying that we don't want to centralize, we don't want to take hold of the old state apparatus of capitalism. We want to abolish it and create our own. And it's of course hoped that this state will wither away. And he praises the Commune for its direct democracy. He does criticize it for at times for not being resolute in dealing with counter-revolutionaries, and for not seizing the National Bank of France. But he praises its great democracy, its broad open-mindedness, and even though Marxists or members of the First International were not prominent among the leadership of the Commune, Marx rightfully claims the Commune as a great proletarian advancement and an advancement of the general socialist cause. And later on, Marx did not specifically use this phrase, I believe, in connection with the Commune, but Engels did. And Engels said, when we hear all this talk about the dictatorship of the proletariat, he says, you want to know what the dictatorship of the proletariat is? The Paris Commune, that's the dictatorship of the proletariat. Because the dictatorship of the proletariat means the workers are in control, but the form of government is democratic. So the Commune, an example of workers' democracy. The vast masses of workers are ruling directly. No alienated state power, no oppressive bureaucracy, no standing army, no legislator cut off. Rather, it is the population themselves who are determining their own destiny. That's what Marx and Engels say about the Paris Commune. That is their example of dictatorship of the proletariat. And we'll go into this more when we go to deal with Lenin. This is Ina. Until next time.